Welcome to our deep dive into the enigmatic world of the Anunnaki and the lost Book of Enki. Today, we're exploring the first 5 tablets as interpreted by Zecharia Sitchin. Whether you're a history enthusiast, a fan of ancient mythology, or just curious about the unknown, this journey is for you. Join us as we unravel the mysteries and delve into the ancient past. The god Enki, deeply troubled, summons his chosen scribe, Indubsar, after a mysterious abduction. Enki's heart is heavy with sorrow as he describes the desolation of Sumerian, once thriving land, now reduced to death and ruin. The narrative paints a grim picture. Summer lies in ruins, its people vanished, and the once vibrant rivers poisoned. The temples, once symbols of divine presence, stand abandoned, and the symbols of power and leadership have disappeared. The fertile banks of the great rivers are now barren, sprouting only weeds. This catastrophe, unknown to humanity before, transformed bustling cities into mere shadows of their former selves. The script attributes the disaster to an evil wind, a lethal storm of poison air born from a distant land. This calamity, it's suggested, was not fate, but a deliberate act by the gods, despite Enki's pleas for mercy. Ninurta and Nergal, divine figures, are depicted as unleashing this weapon of terror, spreading a deadly poison across the land. Even the gods, in their holy cities, were not spared. They fled their temples in the face of this unstoppable force. Enki recounts his and his wife Ninki's escape from Eridu, their inability to prevent the disaster, and the subsequent flight of other deities like Enlil and Nannar, who could not halt the wind of death. The script emphasizes that while the Great Flood was destined, this calamity was not. It was a choice made by the gods, a break of a promise leading to a fateful decision. The narrative culminates in a conflict centered around Marduk, Enki's firstborn, with Enlil's eldest son opposing him and threatening to use weapons, leading to the rise of an army and the establishment of Babylon as a world center. This script portrays a world where divine decisions and conflicts shape the fate of humanity, leaving a lasting impact on the land and its people. Advocating for peace, I consistently opposed confrontation and championed Marduk's ascendancy, believing it was his time as foretold by the heavens. However, my son Ningishzida, harboring resentment towards Marduk, interpreted the celestial signs differently. The discourse among the gods was intense and fractious. Each deity, including Nannar, Enlil's son, and the fiery Inanna, who sought retribution for Dumuzi's death at Marduk's hands, fiercely presented their views. The council descended into a cacophony of arguments and recriminations, revealing deep-seated tensions within Anunnaki society. Ninurta, the firstborn of Enlil, eventually made his voice heard above the din, advocating for the use of weapons to stop Marduk. This suggestion reflected a broader concern among the gods, preventing Marduk from accessing the ancient weapons of terror first. Nergal, the ruler of the underworld, echoed this sentiment, calling for the deployment of these formidable weapons. This turn of events left me deeply troubled, as what I witnessed contradicted the spirit of harmonious resolution I'd always envisioned. Amidst this heated debate, Enlil, my brother, broke the solemn silence of the assembly. He decreed that Marduk and Nabu must be stripped of their celestial privileges and suggested obliterating their stronghold. Ninurta, inflamed with anger, volunteered to execute this punishment, while Nergal demanded the annihilation of the cities of the wrongdoers. In contrast, Ninmah, our sister and co-creator of mankind, urged restraint, arguing that humans should not suffer for the gods' conflicts. Her plea highlighted the moral dilemma at the heart of the Anunnaki Council's decision-making. Ultimately, Anu, from his heavenly abode, delivered a grave decree: the weapons of terror must be unleashed. He entrusted Ninurta and Nergal with this dire task, marking a pivotal moment in our history. Enlil then revealed a closely guarded secret: the location of the hidden weapons of terror. As the council disbanded, the 2 determined sons of Enlil, entrusted with this formidable task, emerged ready to act, Unbeknownst to the rest of the Anunnaki, this decision to wield the weapons of terror would unleash a catastrophe of unimaginable scale, shattering the oath and forever altering the course of our world. It begins with a reflection on the early era, a prelude to the time when the Anunnaki first descended from the heavens to earth, marking the dawn of human existence. In these primal times, before the advent of gods on earth and the birth of humans, lies the root of all history, unveiling mysteries of the distant past. Described as a large, reddish planet with an elongated orbit around the sun, Nibiru experiences drastic climate shifts. Its atmosphere, dense and sustained by volcanic eruptions, acts like a protective coat, retaining warmth during cold periods and shielding the planet in warmer times. This cycle of heat and cold brings about vigorous rains, nurturing the planet's rich flora and fauna. From this bountiful environment, the Anunnaki species emerged, flourishing in the diverse landscapes of Nibiru. As time passed, they expanded across valleys, plains, and mountains, establishing homes, communities, and eventually civilizations. However, with this growth came conflicts and rivalries, culminating in a devastating war between the northern and southern nations. This period saw the transformation of vegetation into weapons and the rise of armed conflicts, leading to widespread death and destruction across Nibiru. After enduring prolonged desolation, a truce was finally declared, heralding a unified Nibiru under a singular rule. To ensure lasting peace and unity, a king was chosen from one region and a consort from the opposite, symbolizing the harmonious integration of North and South. The warrior An from the north was anointed king, and his southern consort, Antu, became the queen. Their union produced 3 children, with Enki, the firstborn, initially poised to continue the dynasty. However, Enki's reign was short-lived and childless, leading to the succession of his middle brother, Anib, named for his position among his siblings. Anib's marriage to Ninib, a woman of significance, marked the continuation of the ruling lineage. This saga of the Anunnaki, steeped in celestial lore and earthly struggles, reveals the intertwined destinies of a powerful species and their influence on the very fabric of ancient history. It is a tale of creation, conflict, and the quest for harmony, echoing through the annals of time. In this reimagined script, the saga of Nibiru's royal lineage continues with Anshargal ascending the throne as the 4th king. His reign, marked by wisdom and enlightenment, is further distinguished by his marriage to Kishargal, his half-sister. Anshargal's most notable contribution was the establishment of Ashar, a unit of time, which he divided into 10 segments. He instituted 2 major festivals, one to celebrate Nibiru's closest approach to the sun, and the other during its most distant and coldest phase, aiming to unify the people through these shared festivities. During their reign, Anshargal and Kishargal laid down foundational laws governing familial and social structures. They decreed that a man's official wife should hold precedence, and their firstborn would inherit the throne. However, this law soon led to complexities and disputes, particularly when it came to the succession rights of sons born from concubines versus those from the official wife. The royal couple faced a critical situation when concubines in the palace bore children, followed by Kishargal giving birth to a son. Although not the firstborn, their son was considered the rightful heir by law, being the child of the official wife. Kishargal, invoking the ancient lineage and the concept of double seeds, argued that her son, sharing a closer blood relation to the reigning king, should be the successor. This argument was rooted in the fact that both she and Anshargal were descendants of the same father. Thus, her son bore a pure lineage. Convinced by Kishargal's rationale, Anshargal decreed that their son, despite not being the firstborn, would be the next king. This decision established the law of seeds, giving precedence to the offspring of half-siblings in the royal succession, and resolving the conflict between the rights of children born to official wives and concubines. The new king, titled Anshar, became the 5th ruler of Nibiru. Anshar followed the tradition by marrying his half-sister Kishar. This ensured that any children born to them would have priority in succession over those from concubines. During Anshar's reign, however, Nibiru faced agricultural challenges, with diminishing harvests and reduced crop yields. Scholars and sages were summoned to investigate, with some attributing these troubles to a recurring natural cycle of Nibiru's destiny, while others speculated about a hole in the atmosphere and diminished volcanic activity weakening Nibiru's protective shield. Inshar, the son of Anshar and Kishar, succeeded the throne as the sixth king, carrying the title Noble Master of the Shars. An erudite ruler, Inshar embarked on extensive research, seeking solutions in the study of other planets and their atmospheres. He honored his ancestors by naming various celestial regions, including a zone near the sun, which he called the Hammered Bracelets, a significant step in his quest to understand and address the challenges facing Nibiru. In this revised script, Inshar's reign on Nibiru is marked by a persistent and growing atmospheric anomaly. Despite his diligent studies and efforts to find a solution, the hole in the atmosphere continued to expand, posing an ever-increasing threat to the planet. The scholars convened repeatedly, proposing various solutions, including the artificial stimulation of volcanic eruptions to generate new activity, but to no avail. As Inshar's reign came to an end without finding a remedy, Duru ascended to the throne. Unlike his predecessors, Duru was the son of Enshar and a concubine, not the queen, and thus lacked the double seed lineage. Breaking with tradition, he chose his first wife out of love, not lineage, further deviating from the established customs of royal succession. This departure from tradition led to confusion within the royal palace, where the usual lines of succession and marital norms were upended. No children were born to the king's legitimate wives, only to concubines, exacerbating the instability. Amidst this turmoil, and with the atmospheric crisis worsening, Duru and his wife Daru adopted a boy named Lama, proclaiming him as the heir to the throne. Unlike his adoptive father, Lama did not descend from a line of rulers, adding another layer of complexity to the royal lineage. During Lama's reign, the situation on Nibiru became increasingly dire. The sages and scholars finally proposed a novel solution, using gold, abundant in the Hammered Bracelet region near the sun, ground into a fine powder and suspended in the atmosphere, could potentially seal the atmospheric breach. This led to the construction of spaceships, marking a significant technological advancement. Another faction advocated for a more aggressive approach, suggesting the use of the weapons of terror to stimulate volcanic activity. However, Lama, overwhelmed by the challenges and influenced primarily by his wife Lahama, remained indecisive and passive. As Shar followed Shar, the situation on Nibiru grew increasingly desperate. Food and water scarcity led to widespread conflict, and while sages and advisors came and went, Lama heeded only the counsel of his wife, who believed in resigning to fate. This inaction persisted through the passage of thousands of Earth years, leading to mounting frustration and desperation among the populace. The people, sages, and advisors, desperate for action, eventually reached a breaking point. With the king unwilling to act, they realized that the responsibility fell upon them to make a decisive move, igniting a sense of urgency and determination to resolve the crisis that threatened their world. In this revised script, a dramatic shift in power unfolds within the royal court of Nibiru. Alalu, a prince, daringly seizes the weapons of the palace, igniting a rebellion against King Lama. Proclaiming a new era, Alalu leads the princes in a revolt, culminating in a fierce battle atop the palace tower. The conflict ends with Alalu emerging victorious, overthrowing Lama and declaring himself king. Alalu's ascent to power marks a turbulent time in Nibiru's history. His legitimacy is questioned, as he is neither a direct heir nor a firstborn. However, Alalu asserts his right to the throne by claiming royal lineage, a claim he is summoned to justify before the seven who judge. In a stunning revelation, Alalu reveals his descent from Anshargal, directly linked to An, the celestial figure. The concept of the royal seed, central to Nibirian succession, traces back to Anshargal and Kishargal's reign. Alalu argues that this law, which favored the offspring of half-siblings, was manipulated to disinherit rightful heirs like his forefather Elam, Anshargal's eldest son, by a concubine. Asserting his descent from Elam, Alalu challenges the existing law of the seed, positioning himself as the legitimate ruler of Nibiru. The Council of Counselors, upon reviewing the records and finding no mention of Elam, faces a dilemma. Alalu, insisting on his royal descent, swears his claim to the throne. The counselors, weighing his words, ultimately crown him as the king. However, another prince, Anu, descends from An without dilution through concubines, presenting a strong claim to the throne. His lineage, supported by thorough genealogical evidence, sways many in his favor. Amidst these claims, a resolution is proposed. Alalu would remain king, but Anu would be named crown prince and successor, further solidifying this agreement through the marriage of Anu's son and Alalu's daughter. This compromise, accepted by all, secures Alalu's position on the throne. He then commissions the construction of more celestial ships, embarking on a quest to mine gold from the hammered bracelet, a vital endeavor for Nibiru's survival. This marks a significant chapter in Nibiru's history, where power, lineage, and survival intertwine, shaping the destiny of its inhabitants. In this reimagined script, the story unfolds with Alalu's desperate measures on Nibiru, as none of the celestial ships sent to the hammered bracelet had returned. In an attempt to revive Nibiru's dying atmosphere, Alalu commands the deployment of the weapons of terror to stir the planet's volcanoes. This action causes turmoil, but fails to bring the desired rains and winds. In the palace. Tension escalates as Anu, despite his royal lineage, is treated merely as a servant under Alalu's rule. Discontent spreads among Nibiru's populace, who grow disillusioned with their king's failure to alleviate their suffering. Its during the 9th Shar that Anu challenges Alalu to a pivotal unarmed combat. In this dramatic confrontation, Alalu is defeated and Anu is heralded as the new king. Fearing retribution for his past actions, including his role in the former king's downfall, Alalu flees the scene. He commandeers a celestial ship, escaping Nibiru to avoid exile or possible execution. From the safety of space, Alalu gazes back at Nibiru, admiring its majestic presence despite the planet's struggles. He then sets course into the unknown, leaving Nibiru behind. As he travels, Alalu encounters various celestial bodies that King Ensher had named: the distant Pluto, the bluish Neptune, Uranus with its blue-green hue, and the ringed Saturn, each planet offering a unique spectacle. However, his journey takes a perilous turn as he approaches the massive Jupiter, its swirling storms momentarily disorienting him. Regaining his focus, Alalu confronts his greatest challenge yet: the hammered bracelet, a treacherous asteroid belt known for its destructive power. Previous Anunnaki expeditions through this region had ended tragically, and the sight of it fills Alalu with dread. Despite his fears, Alalu resolves to press on, driven by the hope that the gold necessary to save Nibiru lies beyond the asteroid belt. If the ancient secrets passed down to him hold true, finding this gold could not only redeem his tarnished legacy, but also bring salvation to his beleaguered home planet. With determination and courage, Alalu steels himself for the perilous passage through the hammered bracelet, embarking on a quest that could alter the fate of Nibiru and its inhabitants. In this reimagined script, Alalu, the intrepid warrior from Nibiru, engages in a daring battle against the formidable asteroid belt known as the Hammered Bracelet. Determined to carve a path through, he fuels the firestones of his ship and launches a deadly missile, causing the asteroids to collide and create an opening. Proclaiming himself as the king and armed with his ship and missiles, he boldly declares that nothing will obstruct his destined path to glory. As if by magic, the hammered bracelet parts, revealing a passage through the tumultuous sea of rocks. Alalu, fueled by the prospect of his imminent fate, navigates this newly formed corridor, a feat none of his fellow Anunnaki had achieved. Swiftly passing the sixth planet, a reddish-brown world Mars, Alalu continues his journey towards the sun. It is then that he beholds the new world, a planet distinct with snowy poles and a mix of blue and brown in its central region. This is the seventh planet Ki, a legendary celestial body. Alalu carefully orbits Ki, surveying its lands and oceans. He activates his ship's deep scanning equipment and directs the penetrating ray towards the planet. To his amazement, the scans reveal an abundance of gold, confirming his hopes and ambitions. However, this exhilarating discovery is quickly overshadowed by the perilous reality of landing on this new world. Alalu weighs his options of landing on dry land risks an explosion, while an ocean landing could lead to a sinking oblivion. As he deliberates, the gravitational pull of the planet intensifies, and his ship begins to heat up, the atmosphere proving thinner than Nibiru's and its gravitational net weaker. Amidst these challenges, Alalu's ship starts to shudder violently, with impact seeming inevitable. His heart clenches in fear as the spacecraft descends rapidly, culminating in a forceful crash. The impact results in a series of small flashes, and Alalu is rendered unconscious, immobilized within his ship upon this unknown, distant world. In this revised script, the tale of Alalu, the first Anunnaki to reach Earth, unfolds with dramatic intensity. After crash landing, Alalu finds himself inert and unconscious, with no concept of time. As he regains consciousness, he realizes that he has survived the perilous journey and has become the first Anunnaki to set foot on Earth, known to them as Ki. He finds himself on dry land at the edge of expansive marshes. Venturing out, he takes his first steps on Earth, feeling the unfamiliar chill of its environment. The realization dawns on him that he might be a lone traveler, possibly exiled forever from Nibiru. Reflecting on his past as family, rain, and the battle with Anu, as well as the dangers of the hammered bracelet, Alalu is overcome with a sense of isolation and anguish. He retreats to his ship for sustenance, where he is soon engulfed by a deep, overpowering sleep. Alalu was not merely a bystander in his story. He was among the Anunnaki elite, a learned individual well-versed in the wisdom of his ancestors, especially Anshargal, and further educated by Inshar. His discussions with scholars and commanders had greatly expanded his understanding of the universe. Alalu's journey to Earth was driven by a profound secret, a knowledge that traces back to the origins of the gods and the formation of the cosmos. In the beginning, before the celestial gods were named and the firm ground below was recognized, there existed only Apsu, the primordial begetter, alone in the void. The celestial gods were yet to be created, both in the heavens above and the waters below. In this state of pre-creation, Apsu reigned supreme, with the winds and primeval waters merging in a mystical spell. Alalu's presence on Earth, thus, marks not just a physical journey across space, but also a bridge to the ancient cosmic mysteries that have shaped the destinies of both the Anunnaki and the planet Ki. In this reimagined narrative, the ancient cosmic drama unfolds with the creation of Tiamat, the mother of all, brought into existence to be the consort of Apsu, the primordial source. Tiamat, a celestial being abundant in water, is joined by Apsu and his messenger Mamu. Apsu presents Tiamat with a resplendent gift of shining metal, the eternal gold, reserved for her possession alone. Their union produces a lineage of divine children, representing the planets that Alalu would later traverse. At this juncture in cosmic history, Nibiru had not yet come into being, and Earth was still unformed. The celestial waters were unified, with no asteroid belt or established orbits. Tiamat, restless and unfulfilled without set destinies or paths, raised an army against Apsu. She elevated her firstborn Kingu to a position of power and authority, bestowing upon him a tablet of destiny to define his own course and commanding him to challenge the gods. Amidst this celestial turmoil, a new god emerged, born from the sun itself. This cunning creator, carrying the seed of life, ventured into space, attracting the attention of other celestial beings. Named Nibiru, this entity became known as the Crossing, destined to forever hold a pivotal place in the cosmos. Nibiru joined the fray, aligning with the celestial siblings to confront Tiamat. In a dramatic cosmic battle, Nibiru faced Tiamat directly. Unleashing the evil wind, Nibiru struck Tiamat's core, leading to her eventual downfall. Kingu and his followers were left trembling in terror as their matriarch was vanquished. In the aftermath of this epic confrontation, the asteroid belt found its place among the celestial bodies, and the planets, including Earth, Ki, found their paths. Kingu, Tiamat's firstborn, was fated to illuminate Earth's nights eternally. Nibiru, the true son of the sun, emerged as the mightiest of all, ordained to rule the cosmic crossings. Nibiru's destiny was sealed to preside over the intersection of heaven and earth. None of the gods would traverse beyond its domain, their fates bound to the measure of a shore. This profound secret from the beginning and the legendary battle of the gods were well known to Alalu. His discovery of gold in the asteroid belt served as a confirmation of these ancient truths, linking his personal journey to the grand narrative of cosmic creation and destiny. In this reworked script, Alalu, the intrepid explorer from Nibiru, awakens on the foreign planet Ki, unsure of how long he had been unconscious. His escape from Nibiru marked the start of a new chapter in his life, filled with unfamiliar experiences and discoveries. As he gathers his bearings, Alalu is struck by the intense luminosity outside his ship, a brightness surpassing anything he had seen on Nibiru. It was the sun of this new world. He extends a mast and gauge from his ship to test the planet's air, finding it surprisingly compatible with his own needs. Excitedly, he opens the ship's door, taking his first deep breaths of Ki's air. With the planet's atmosphere confirmed as breathable, Alalu ventures outside without a protective suit, only to be overwhelmed by the sun's intense rays. He quickly retrieves a mask to shield his eyes and arms himself with a gun equipped with a collector. Exploring the terrain, Alalu steps onto the dark, swampy ground. He tests the murky, greenish waters, finding them unfit for consumption, but discovers an abundance of fish, a sight unfamiliar to him. Venturing further, he comes across vegetation and fruit trees, sampling a fruit that delights him with its sweetness. As he explores a pond with still waters, Alalu uses his collector to test the water, and to his joy, it's drinkable. However, his exploration is suddenly interrupted by a hissing sound. On alert, he locates the source and fires his gun, silencing the noise. Approaching, he finds a motionless, serpent-like creature, unlike anything he had seen on Nibiru. Pondering the nature of this creature, Alalu collects water and fruit and returns to his ship. As the sun sets, he is astonished by the rapid onset of darkness and the rise of a huge, red, then white celestial body Kingu, glowing in the night sky. Alalu, filled with awe, watches the night sky from his ship, contemplating the infinite expanse of this new world. He sees the planets he had passed through, including his hazardous journey through the hammered bracelet, leading him to Ki. Determined to uncover the truth of the secret from the beginning, Alalu prepares to investigate for gold at sunrise. He believes that if the ancient tales are true, Tiamat's golden veins, now part of Ki's waters, could hold the key to finding the precious metal. With this hope, Alalu sets out at dawn, equipped for his quest to explore the waters in search of gold. In this reimagined script, Alalu, filled with determination, uses his equipment on planet Ki, Earth, to search for gold. As the data on his meter confirms his suspicions, Alalu realizes that he has indeed discovered gold, confirming the truth of the secret from the beginning. This discovery, he believes, secures his claim to celestial royalty. Elated by his find, Alalu hastily enters his ship and, using the Tablet of Destinies, broadcasts a triumphant message back to Nibiru. He proclaims himself the rightful king, declaring that he has successfully navigated through the hammered bracelet and reached Ki. He boasts of the planet's compatible fruits, water and air, and most importantly, the presence of gold. Alalu's message creates a stir in Nibiru's royal palace as it reaches them through radio communication. Anu, the king of Nibiru, and his counselors and sages are shocked to learn of Alalu's survival and his bold claim. They confirm that one of the celestial ships is indeed missing, presumably taken by Alalu. Anu, reflecting on the situation, decides to extend a diplomatic greeting to Alalu. He expresses no ill will and acknowledges the potential significance of Alalu's discovery for Nibiru's salvation. However, Alalu responds aggressively, demanding recognition as the supreme leader and savior of Nibiru. He insists that the princes and commanders acknowledge his ascendancy, declare him king, and place his name above Anu's on the throne. This demand sends shockwaves through Nibiru's council. The advisors are thrown into confusion and debate. Questions arise about Alalu's location, the veracity of his claim to have found gold, and the possibility of it being a mere ruse. Amidst the turmoil, the oldest counselor steps forward to address the assembly, his voice rising above the chaos to be heard. In this revised script, the eldest counselor of Nibiru, who had been Alalu's mentor, speaks up in the assembly. He acknowledges Alalu's deep understanding of the celestial battle, the monstrous Tiamat, and the golden veins. If Alalu indeed navigated through the hammered bracelet, then his destiny on Ki, Earth, aligns with ancient prophecy. A prince then voices his objection, refusing to accept Alalu's demands. He points out Alalu's past calamities and loss of the throne. The assembly is urged to verify Alalu's claim of discovering gold and to consider its sufficiency. Breaking the silence, Enlil, the Lord of Command and son of Anu and Queen Antu, speaks. The assembly's decision is transmitted to Alalu, who meticulously plans his response, aware of the gravity of each decision in this cosmic chess game. Alalu provides proof of his journey and the gold he discovered, sending samples through the transmitter for verification. With the evidence submitted, he reasserts his claim to kingship and demands obedience. The sages confirm Alalu's distant location beyond the hammered bracelet. The assembly reconvenes, and Anu's eldest son, Ea, later known as Enki, the Lord of Earth, offers a solution. Enki, married to Alalu's daughter Damkina, proposes to be Anu's emissary to Earth. He plans to take the gold from Alalu, proclaiming him the king of Earth, while allowing a future battle to decide Nibiru's throne. Anu agrees, setting the terms for a future contest for the kingship of Nibiru. Alalu consents to the plan, welcoming Enki to Earth for the gold extraction and the eventual battle for Nibiru's throne. Preparations begin for Enki's mission. Unlike Alalu, who used weapons of terror to pass the hammered bracelet, Enki decides to use water. The mission requires storing water in the ship and is meticulously planned over a shar. The largest celestial ship is chosen, and 50 heroes are selected for the journey. Anu gives Enki his royal blessing, wishing him a safe journey and success. Enki's mother, Ninul, and his wife Damkina also bid him farewell as he boards the ship. Anzu, the pilot known as He Who Knows the Heavens, takes command, lifting off from Nibiru. The ship respectfully passes the planets of the solar system on its way to the formidable hammered bracelet. The mission, meticulously calculated and prepared, uses jets of water to navigate through the asteroid belt, contrasting Alalu's more destructive approach. This mission marks a pivotal moment in the history of the Anunnaki and their interaction with Earth. In this reworked script, the Anunnaki ship's triumphant passage through the hammered bracelet is met with an outburst of joy, but this quickly turns to anxiety. Anzu, the expert pilot, alerts the crew that more water than anticipated was used to navigate the asteroid belt, leaving insufficient water to fuel the ship's firestones for the remainder of the journey. Approaching Lamu, later known as Mars, Anzu skillfully maneuvers the ship towards a lake on the planet's surface. Enki and Anzu, equipped with their eagle helmets, disembark to collect water. They successfully use a water-sucking pipe to refill the ship's reservoirs. With the ship replenished, the Anunnaki resume their journey towards Earth. As they near, they pick up Alalu's transmission and observe Earth's contrasting landscapes of oceans, dry land, and snowy regions. The ship's approach is complicated by Earth's strong gravitational pull and the challenging landing conditions in the swampy region. Anzu skillfully circles the planet, gradually reducing altitude for a safe landing on Earth's waters. Upon arrival, Alalu's welcoming message is received. Anzu guides the ship like a seafaring vessel towards Alalu's location. Alalu urges them to hurry, and Anzu instructs the Anunnaki to don their fish costumes. However, Enki finds himself without a suit and bravely swims to shore, feeling the unfamiliar depth of Earth's waters. On the bank, Alalu warmly greets Enki, his son-in-law, welcoming him to the new planet. As the other Anunnaki heroes disembark, Alalu greets each one. Enki asserts his command over the mission, emphasizing the critical nature of their task for Nibiru's survival. Anzu is instructed to relay the news of their successful arrival to Anu, the king of Nibiru. As night falls on Earth, marked by a reddish-orange sky, Alalu explains the longer duration of Earth's nights, suggesting they rest before the onset of a new day. With the dawn of a new day, Enki delegates specific responsibilities to the Anunnaki team. Imgur is appointed Lord of Fresh Waters. Inkimdu takes charge of ditches and dikes, and Inbalulu is assigned to oversee the swamps. Recognizing the importance of sustenance, Enki entrusts Guru with overseeing food growth, guided by his vizier Isamud's knowledge of edible fruits. This marks the beginning of the Anunnaki's momentous mission on Earth. In this re-envisioned script, the Anunnaki's establishment on Earth progresses swiftly. Camps are set up, and essential structures like ditches and dikes are constructed. Kala shapes clay bricks, while Mushdamu lays the foundations. Inursag studies serpents and slithering creatures, while Ulmash categorizes aquatic animals and birds. After 6 days of intensive work, Enki declares a day of rest, naming their settlement Eridu and appointing Alalu as its commander. As the seventh day. A day of rest becomes a tradition. Their focus shifts to extracting gold. For 6 days, Enki and Alalu work on processing marshy waters, but their efforts yield only small amounts of gold among other metals. They persist in this cycle, working 6 days and resting on the 7th, but gold remains scarce. Enki, intrigued by the moon, Kingu, ponders its relationship with Earth and names a full lunar cycle a month. He divides the year into 2 seasons, winter and summer, based on the sun's position. Despite their efforts, the gold accumulated over a year is alarmingly insufficient. As Nibiru's approach nears, Anu inquires about the gold, but the quantity is inadequate. The Anunnaki decide to wait another shar, using this time to disassemble parts of the ship to build a chamber. Enki and Abgal use this chamber to fly low and study Earth, searching for Tiamat's legendary golden veins. Meanwhile, on Nibiru, the demand for gold grows desperate. Anu orders the limited gold to be sent back. Enki, cautious of the weapons of terror from Alalu's ship, hides them in a secret location. Anzu prepares the ship for its return journey, but notices the absence of the weapons, crucial for safely traversing the hammered bracelet. Despite the risks, Abgal volunteers to pilot the ship back to Nibiru with the gold. The Anunnaki on Earth and Nibiru await anxiously as Abgal embarks on the perilous journey, fueled by hope for salvation. Using Enki's crystals, Abgal skillfully navigates through the asteroid belt, setting course for Nibiru. As he departs Earth, Abgal feels the weight of his responsibility, while Anu on Nibiru remains hopeful, yet anxious. Amidst the vastness of space, the reddish glow of Nibiru looms, its atmosphere marred by gaping holes, symbolizing both the planet's plight and the critical nature of Abgal's mission. On Nibiru, anticipation for the gold of salvation reaches a peak as Abgal, braving the intense heat of the planet's atmosphere, skillfully lands the ship at the designated spot. The crowd erupts in applause, celebrating his heroic act. Upon opening the ship's doors, Anu, the king of Nibiru, warmly welcomes Abgal. Other Anunnaki members quickly transfer the gold to where it will be processed, soon to be pulverized into the finest powder and dispersed into the atmosphere. Anu addresses the Anunnaki assembly, proclaiming the arrival of salvation with the gold. However, amidst the celebrations, there remains a palpable sense of unease. Questions linger. Will the pulverized gold successfully seal the atmospheric breaches? The answer comes affirmatively. The gaps in the atmosphere that received the gold begin to close, bringing joy to the royal palace. But the triumph is short-lived. As Nibiru nears the sun, its rays deflect the gold particles, causing the fissures to reopen. Anu immediately orders Abgal to return to Earth for more gold, accompanied by Nungal and other Anunnaki, emphasizing the urgency of their mission. Upon their arrival at Eridu, Enki greets Abgal and the team. The gold extraction efforts commence rapidly, but the results are disheartening. The yield is far less than expected, a source of deep concern for Enki and Alalu. They frequently discuss the dilemma, both puzzled and anxious. Where could the abundant sources of gold, the golden veins of Tiamat, be located? Enki undertakes extensive explorations, surveying mountains and valleys, and pushing further into uncharted territories. His determination leads him to lands divided by oceans, and it's in the depths of Earth that he finally discovers promising signs, revealing the hidden wealth of Tiamat's golden veins. In this reimagined script, Enki discovers the prolific golden veins of Earth, in a region where the dry lands form a heart-like shape. Naming this area Abzu, he identifies it as a rich source of gold and communicates this promising discovery to the Council on Nibiru, reigniting hope across the planet. However, with this news comes the daunting challenge of extracting the gold. In the Assembly of the Gods, Enlil, Enki's half-brother, raises concerns about the feasibility of this massive undertaking. He emphasizes the need for concrete proof of the gold's existence and a solid plan for successful extraction. Anu, the ruler of Nibiru, intervenes with a decisive command. Enlil is to go to Earth to gather evidence and formulate a strategy. The Assembly unanimously supports this decision, and Anu orders that henceforth, Enlil shall have command on Earth. Upon arriving on Earth, Enlil is warmly received by Enki, but receives a more reserved welcome from Alalu. Anxious Anunnaki await Enlil's leadership, eager to commence their critical mission. Enlil organizes exploration teams, with Enki and Abgal leading one ship to Abzu, followed by Enlil and Lieutenant Alalgar in another. Their exploration in Abzu reveals gold amidst sand and rocks, confirming the valuable resource's presence, but also highlighting the complexity of its extraction. Back in Eridu, Enlil outlines an expansive plan. Eridu must grow, new settlements are to be established, and additional Anunnaki will be brought from Nibiru. This plan involves the collection, separation, and transport of gold using celestial ships. Enki and Alalu exchange concerned glances, raising questions about leadership roles in this vast operation. Who will oversee the new settlements and the expanded Eridu? Anzu inquires about the command of the ships and the landing site. Enlil responds with a suggestion that only Anu, the ruler of Nibiru, should make these critical decisions upon his arrival on Earth. This proposal sets the stage for Anu's direct involvement in the Earth mission, indicating the significance and scale of the undertaking. In this revised script, the plan to bring Anu, the ruler of Nibiru, to Earth is swiftly executed. Nungal is appointed as the pilot for the journey, and Anu, accompanied by Nungal, departs Nibiru for Earth. Enki prepares boats to receive the Anunnaki disembarking from the spacecraft landing on water. Upon Anu's arrival, Enki greets his father with deep respect. Anu warmly embraces Enki, acknowledging him as his eldest son. They then travel to Eridu, where Anu is received by Enlil, Alalu, and other Anunnaki, who welcome the Nibirian royalty to Earth. Enlil greets his father with warmth and respect, while Alalu's reception is more hesitant yet friendly. Anu retires to a cabin prepared by Enki after a dinner held in his honor. The next day, Anu visits the Abzu to assess the gold situation. Realizing the complexity of extracting the gold, Anu declares that Enki and Enlil will be responsible for creating the necessary tools and methods for gold extraction. In a meeting at Eridu, Enki proposes the establishment of additional camps in the region, suggesting the land be named Eden and requesting command over it. Enlil, however, challenges the plan, asserting his expertise in commands and plans and proposing that Enki take charge of the Abzu while he oversees Eden. Anu, witnessing the brothers' fervent argument, reflects on the situation. He acknowledges Enki as the firstborn, but also Enlil as his legitimate son with Queen Antu. Anu decides to let fate determine their roles. Fate decrees that Anu will return to Nibiru to rule. Enlil is designated as the Lord of Command in Eden, responsible for managing gold extraction and overseeing the Anunnaki. Enki, now known as the Lord of Earth, is appointed to rule the Abzu. Anu affirms that Enki will be recognized as the first to land on Earth and grants him authority over the Abzu, while Enlil is acknowledged as the Lord of Command. The decision is announced to the Assembly of Anunnaki. Anu expresses confidence in the success of the mission as he prepares to return to Nibiru. However, Alalu interrupts, reminding everyone of a critical oversight, the promise of Earth's dominion that was made to him. This unexpected assertion by Alalu adds a new layer of complexity to the unfolding narrative on Earth. In this reimagined script, Alalu confronts Anu, enraged over the division of power and his unfulfilled claim to Nibiru's throne. He demands a battle for the throne, a challenge that Anu accepts without hesitation. The ensuing fight is fierce and intense, reflecting the deep-seated rivalry between these two Nibirian nobles, now on a new world. Alalu is initially defeated by Anu, but in a sudden, wild move, he bites Anu's private parts, causing Anu to collapse in shock. Enki rushes to aid Anu while Enlil restrains Alalu. Enlil calls for justice, but Enki argues that justice has been served through Alalu's own actions, as he has ingested the poison himself. Alalu is detained, awaiting the fulfillment of the law. Anu, recovering, convenes a meeting of the seven who judge, with Enki, Anzu, Nungol, Enlil, Abgal, and Alalgar in attendance. Enlil asserts that Alalu has lost the fight and his subsequent actions warrant death. Enki, seeking Alalu's perspective, hears him recount his history, once a rightful king of Nibiru, overthrown by Anu, his former cupbearer. Alalu speaks of his flight to Earth, discovery of gold, and the promise of a return to kingship. Alalu laments the twists of fate that led to Enki's appointment as ruler of Earth instead of Nibiru and Enlil's assertion of command, casting Enki to the distant Abzu. He expresses deep anguish over his defeat by Anu and the violation of his honor. Anu defends his actions as a fair response to the fight, while Enlil emphasizes Alalu's admission of guilt. The assembly is left to ponder the complexities of justice, revenge, and the weight of ancient grievances played out on this new world stage. This dramatic encounter highlights the interplay of power, honor, and destiny among the Anunnaki on Earth and Nibiru. In this reimagined script, a solemn verdict is reached for Alalu. Calls for death resonate among the Anunnaki, but Enki offers a different perspective, noting that death will come naturally to Alalu, who has ingested Anu's entrails. Anzu proposes that Alalu be confined to Earth for the rest of his days, but Anu, the king of Nibiru, contemplates deeply before delivering his final decree: Alalu shall die in exile. Anu details his plan. Upon his return to Nibiru, Alalu will accompany him, but not to Nibiru itself. Instead, they will journey to Lamu, Mars, a planet with water and a breathable atmosphere, where Alalu will live out his remaining days in solitude. For a safe landing on Lamu, a smaller celestial ship will be used. The decision is unanimous. Anu announces that Nungol will pilot the main ship, returning to Nibiru and then back to Earth with more Anunnaki to assist in the gold mining efforts. Anzu, tasked with escorting Alalu, chooses to stay with him on Lamu, vowing to bury Alalu with the honors of a king upon his death. Anzu embraces his fate, foreseeing his legacy as a heroic companion to a king in exile. Touched by Anzu's dedication, Anu makes a solemn oath on a future journey. A ship will land on Lamu to check on Anzu. If found alive, Anu promises to appoint Anzu as the Lord of Lamu and, eventually, its commander once a station is established there. Preparations for the journey to Lamu commence, with the ship equipped with necessary supplies, fish chutes, and eagle helmets. As the ship departs towards the Red Planet, it disappears into the horizon, marking the end of a significant chapter in Alalu's life. Alalu's legacy is a complex one. He reigned as king of Nibiru for 9 shores, commanded Eridu on Earth for 8 shares, and in his 9th share, faced his destiny in the exile of Lamu. This tale weaves together themes of power, honor, sacrifice, and the inexorable march of fate. On Earth, a lengthy deliberation unfolds to determine the subsequent actions. Enki entrusts Alalu with overseeing Eridu and travels to the Abzu, where he devises advanced technological tools for mining deep within Earth's crust. He forwards these designs to Nibiru for manufacturing. Enlil, based in the Eden, meticulously maps out the region's geographic features, finding particular joy in the snow-capped mountains to the north. His plans include establishing a launch pad for celestial ships, a project he eagerly embarks upon. Back on Nibiru, Anu's return is celebrated with feasts and jubilation. He sets forth crucial directives, proposing the creation of intermediate stations on Lamu and Kingu for the interplanetary route between Nibiru and Earth. Anu oversees the development of a new class of spacecraft and the selection and training of new Anunnaki for the missions. The plans for these endeavors are communicated between Anu, Enki, and Enlil, facilitating collaboration across the vast expanse of space. A new mission departs Nibiru for Earth, this time including 50 chosen women. Among them is Ninma, the accomplished half-sister of Enki and Enlil and a skilled healer. Ninma, aware of the vertigo caused by Earth's sun and rotation, comes prepared with remedies. As the mission orbits Lamu, they discover Anzu lying lifeless near a river. Ninma, utilizing her medical expertise and advanced equipment, revives Anzu. She employs a pulsator and an emitter to stimulate his heart and body, and after 60 attempts, Anzu regains consciousness. Ninma administers the water of life and the food of life, completing his miraculous recovery. Anzu recounts Alalu's final moments and his own efforts to prepare a dignified burial, marking Alalu's grave with stones on a mountain. In honor of Alalu, the Anunnaki carve his face into the mountain, ensuring that his visage eternally gazes upon the land where he discovered gold. This poignant tribute cements Alalu's legacy, intertwining his story with the very landscape of this new, gold-rich world. In this reimagined narrative, Ninma, the Great Lady, delivers Anu's message to Anzu on Lamu. Anu has decreed that the promise made to Anzu will be honored. He will become the commander of Lamu, with 20 men to assist him in building a way station there. This station will play a crucial role in the interplanetary gold transport. Ships from Earth will arrive at Lamu laden with gold, which will then be transferred to celestial ships bound for Nibiru. As the ship carrying Ninma and other Anunnaki departs Lamu for Earth, Anzu and his team remain to establish the way station. Meanwhile, the ship headed for Earth, piloted by Nungol, explores the potential for another way station on the moon before landing at a pier near Eridu, constructed by Enlil. Upon arrival, Enki and Enlil greet Ninma, who shares the latest developments, the death of Alalu, Anzu's survival and command of Lamu, and the ongoing construction of the way station. while Enki expresses his approval. Enlil is visibly perplexed by these events. Ninmah then reveals that she has brought seeds with healing properties from Nibiru. These seeds, once planted and grown, can produce a juice capable of curing diseases. Ninmah emphasizes the need for a suitable environment for these seeds, a place that's both warm and cool, with adequate heat and water. Enlil, intrigued, invites Ninmah to join him on a journey to the snow-covered mountains near the cedar forest, a location he deems perfect for planting the seeds. During their journey, they discuss their familial connections and express affection for each other. Enlil is the legal heir and successor of Anu, being the son of Anu's lawful wife, Antu. Ninmah, half-sister to Enlil and mother of Ninurta, is renowned for her beauty, wisdom, and skill. Despite their closeness, Enlil refrains from impregnating Ninmah. They return to Eridu, where Enlil unveils his grand plans for the region, establishing his abode far from Eridu in a place called Lyarsa on the banks of the Buranu River. He envisions the future city of Lagash and designates Shurubak as Ninmah's city, positioned centrally to lead to Nibiru Ki. Nibiru Ki, as Enlil describes, will be a pivotal city, a crossing point, and a heaven-earth link. It will house the Tablets of Destinies and oversee all missions, cementing its strategic and symbolic significance in the Anunnaki's endeavors on Earth. In this re-envisioned script, Enlil reveals to Ninmah his grand vision for the future, showcasing a crystal tablet with intricate markings. He explains that these plans include the construction of a landing place for ships traveling between Nibiru and Earth, which will be part of a network of 5 permanent cities. Ninmah is astounded by the complexity and scale of Enlil's plan, which even includes the creation of a special city for her, a healing city, to serve as a medical station. Enlil's ambition, however, is tinged with caution from Ninmah, who advises him not to overstep Anu's directives or to offend his brother, Enki. Enlil acknowledges Ninmah's wisdom and beauty in response to her counsel. Meanwhile, Enki, in the distant land of the Abzu, devises his own plans, which contrast with those of Enlil. Enki surveys the entire Abzu from his celestial ship, identifying suitable locations for Anunnaki dwellings, his residence, and access points to Earth's depths. He establishes his home beside the pure waters of the Abzu and sets up the place of the deep for mining operations. Enki's plan includes the installation of machinery for processing the gold, which will then be transported to a landing site in the Cedar Mountains, and eventually to the way station on Lamu. With these plans set in motion, numerous extraterrestrials arrive on Earth. Some join Enlil in the Eden, others work with Enki in the Abzu, and still more assist Ninmah in Shurubak. Enlil, based in Nibiru Ki, coordinates all the missions from this central hub, the Heaven-Earth Link. Enki, constantly traveling between Eridu and the Abzu, oversees the activities in both locations. Meanwhile, on Lamu, construction on the way station progresses with an influx of workers. 2 shares pass, and on the 7th day a day of rest established by Enki Anu makes an official pronouncement. 600 Anunnaki gather to hear Anu's words. Among them are Enki with his vizier Isimud, Nungal the pilot, Alagar the lord of Eridu, and Abgal, who oversees the landing place. In the Adin, Enlil and Ninmah, accompanied by her host of maidens, watch the transmission. On Lamu, Anzu and various workers assemble to listen to Anu's address. This scene captures a pivotal moment in the Anunnaki's saga on Earth, with each key figure playing a crucial role in the unfolding narrative. The intricate plans of Enlil and Enki, the council of Ninmah, and the anticipation of Anu's pronouncement all contribute to the tapestry of this ancient interplanetary tale. In this reimagined script, Anu addresses the Anunnaki and Igigi, recognizing them as heroes and saviors of Nibiru. He declares that their deeds on Earth and Lamu will be remembered eternally, and he officially names those on Earth Anunnaki and those on Lamu Igigi. With everything in place, Anu urges the commencement of the gold transfer to save Nibiru. However, he remains unaware of the brewing complications among his children, a dilemma rooted in their history. The narrative then delves into the complex familial dynamics of the Anunnaki, starting with Enki, Anu's eldest son by a concubine. Ninmah, Anu's eldest daughter, was initially intended to marry Enki, ensuring their firstborn would be the legitimate heir. However, Ninmah falls in love with Enlil, resulting in the birth of Ninurta, Enlil, and Ninmah's son. This development angers Anu, leading him to forbid Ninmah from marrying anyone. Enki marries Damkina, Alalu's daughter, and they have a son named Marduk. Meanwhile, Enlil, the legitimate heir to Anu, has Ninurta, but outside of wedlock. Enlil's story continues on Earth, where he falls in love with Sud, one of Ninmah's maidens. After offering Sud the elixir of Nibiru's fruit, Enlil impregnates her. Ninmah, deeming Enlil's actions immoral, brings him before the seven who judge. Enlil is sentenced to exile in a remote land. His pilot, Abgal, leaves him near a cave where Enki had hidden the weapons of terror from Alalu's ship, suggesting Enlil could use these weapons to regain his freedom. Back in Eden, Sud informs Ninmah that she is pregnant with Enlil's child. Ninmah shares this news with Enki, who, as the supreme authority on Earth, calls for a new judgment. Sud agrees to marry Enlil, leading to his return from exile. She is then known as Ninlil, the Lady of the Mandate. This script weaves a tale of love, intrigue, and power dynamics among the Anunnaki, highlighting their complex relationships and the impact of their decisions on the fate of Nibiru and Earth. In this reimagined script, the story unfolds with the birth of Nanner, son of Enlil and Ninlil, celebrated as the first child of two Anunnaki conceived on Earth. Nanner, also known as the Bright One, symbolizes the merging of the royal Nibirian lineage with the new Earth-based heritage. As Nanner's birth is commemorated, Enki, residing in the Abzu, decorates his house with silver from Earth's depths and the precious stone lapis lazuli. He then invites Ninmah, his half-sister, to join him in the Abzu, suggesting she abandon her adoration for Enlil. During her visit, Enki and Ninmah recall their past engagement and rekindle their affection, resulting in the birth of a daughter. Despite Enki's initial disappointment at not having a son, Ninmah encourages him to embrace their child. Their relationship continues, but only daughters are born, intensifying Enki's desire for a son. In a moment of frustration, Ninmah curses Enki, causing him great physical pain. Enki's vizier, Isimud, intervenes, imploring Ninmah to lift the curse. Enki swears to keep his distance from Ninmah, leading her to relent and heal him. Following this episode, Ninmah returns to Eden, adhering to Anu's decree that she shall never marry. Enki, meanwhile, brings his wife Damkina and their son Marduk to Earth. Together, they have 5 more children, both from Damkina and other concubines, including Nergal, Jibal, Ninagal, Ninjish Zeta, and Dumuzi. In contrast, Enlil and Ninmah have brought their son Ninurta to Earth. Enlil also fathers Ishkur with his wife Ninlil. Thus, the Anunnaki clans on Earth comprise Enki, Ninmah, and Enlil, along with their respective offspring. Enlil's sons include Nanner, Ishkur, and Ninurta, while Enki fathers Marduk, 2 daughters with Ninmah, and several other children. These growing clans, the descendants of Enki and Enlil, later find themselves entangled in conflict, but that tale is for another time. The current focus shifts to why the Anunnaki conceived the idea of creating humans to relieve the gods of their laborious tasks. In the Abzu, the Anunnaki extract gold from Earth's depths, transporting it to a landing place. From there, the Igigi, stationed on Lamu, ferry the gold in spaceships to the intermediary way station. This operation marks a significant phase in the Anunnaki's mission on Earth, laying the groundwork for future developments in their interplanetary endeavor. In this reimagined script, the critical process of transporting gold from Lamu to Nibiru continues. On Nibiru, the gold is pulverized into fine powder and dispersed into the atmosphere, slowly repairing the planet's environmental damages. This methodical and gradual restoration showcases the vital importance of Earth's resources in healing Nibiru's atmospheric wounds. Back on Earth, Enki establishes a magnificent abode in Eridu, raising it from the ground as if it were a mountain reaching towards the heavens. He resides there with Dankina and their son Marduk, imparting various knowledge and teachings to Marduk. Meanwhile, Enlil constructs an awe-inspiring structure in Nibiru, creating a vital link between heaven and earth. This facility enables communication with Lamu and Nibiru with powerful rays capable of reaching far and wide. Enlil's observatory allows him to study celestial secrets, including the mysteries of the sun and moon. He meticulously records his findings, organizing the celestial bodies into 12 houses marked with emblems representing the solar family. While the Anunnaki leaders engage in these grand endeavors, the tablets of destinies shine within their royal dwellings. The worker class, however, toils relentlessly, both on Earth and Lamu. The cycles of Earth, including its healing elixirs, leave the Anunnaki astonished yet weary from their labors. Amidst this, Anzu, the commander of Lamu, arrives on Earth by Anu's command. He is to learn about the operations in the Abzu and the celestial link at Nibiru from Enki and Enlil. Anzu advocates for the Igigi of Lamu, requesting rest periods on Earth during their missions. However, during a visit to Enlil's chamber, Anzu seizes an opportunity to steal the Tablets of Destinies, aiming to fulfill his promise to the Igigi and declare himself king of Earth and Lamu. His theft causes great distress to Enlil, who confronts Enki about Anzu's identity and intentions. Anu's directive from Nibiru is clear. Anzu must be stopped, and the tablets must be recovered. Yet, armed with the tablets, Anzu becomes seemingly invincible. Ninurta, Enlil's son, bravely steps forward to confront Anzu and reclaim the stolen tablets. In a dramatic showdown, Ninurta's attacks initially fail to reach their target, showcasing the power and challenge posed by Anzu's possession of the Tablets of Destinies. In this reimagined script, Anu addresses the Anunnaki and Igigi, recognizing them as heroes and saviors of Nibiru. He declares that their deeds on Earth and Lamu will be remembered eternally, and he officially names those on Earth Anunnaki and those on Lamu Igigi. With everything in place, Anu urges the commencement of the gold transfer to save Nibiru. However, he remains unaware of the brewing complications among his children, a dilemma rooted in their history. The narrative then delves into the complex familial dynamics of the Anunnaki, starting with Enki, Anu's eldest son by a concubine. Ninma, Anu's eldest daughter, was initially intended to marry Enki, ensuring their firstborn would be the legitimate heir. However, Ninma falls in love with Enlil, resulting in the birth of Ninurta, Enlil, and Ninma's son. This development angers Anu, leading him to forbid Ninma from marrying anyone. Enki marries Damkina, Alalu's daughter, and they have a son named Marduk. Meanwhile, Enlil, the legitimate heir to Anu, has Ninurta, but outside of wedlock. Enlil's story continues on Earth, where he falls in love with Sud, one of Ninma's maidens. After offering Sud the elixir of Nibiru's fruit, Enlil impregnates her. Ninma, deeming Enlil's actions immoral, brings him before the seven who judge. Enlil is sentenced to exile in a remote land. His pilot, Abgal, leaves him near a cave where Enki had hidden the weapons of terror from Alalu's ship, suggesting Enlil could use these weapons to regain his freedom. Back in Eden, Sud informs Ninma that she is pregnant with Enlil's child. Ninma shares this news with Enki, who, as the supreme authority on Earth, calls for a new judgment. Sud agrees to marry Enlil, leading to his return from exile. She is then known as Ninlil, the Lady of the Mandate. This script weaves a tale of love, intrigue, and power dynamics among the Anunnaki, highlighting their complex relationships and the impact of their decisions on the fate of Nibiru and Earth. In this reimagined script, the story unfolds with the birth of Nanner, son of Enlil and Minlil, celebrated as the first child of two Anunnaki conceived on Earth. Nanner, also known as the Bright One, symbolizes the merging of the royal Nibirian lineage with the new Earth-based heritage. As Nanner's birth is commemorated, Enki, residing in the Abzu, decorates his house with silver from Earth's depths and the precious stone lapis lazuli. He then invites Ninmah, his half-sister, to join him in the Abzu, suggesting she abandon her adoration for Enlil. During her visit, Enki and Ninmah recall their past engagement and rekindle their affection, resulting in the birth of a daughter. Despite Enki's initial disappointment at not having a son, Ninmah encourages him to embrace their child. Their relationship continues, but only daughters are born, intensifying Enki's desire for a son. In a moment of frustration, Ninmah curses Enki, causing him great physical pain. Enki's vizier, Izimud, intervenes, imploring Ninmah to lift the curse. Enki swears to keep his distance from Ninmah, leading her to relent and heal him. Following this episode, Ninmah returns to Eden, adhering to Anu's decree that she shall never marry. Enki, meanwhile, brings his wife Dankina and their son Marduk to Earth. Together, they have 5 more children, both from Dankina and other concubines, including Nergal, Jibble, Ninagal, Ninjish Zeta, and Dumuzi. In contrast, Enlil and Ninmah have brought their son Ninurta to Earth. Enlil also fathers Ishkir with his wife Ninlil. Ninmah, known for her expertise in healing and aid, is called to the discussion. She expresses her astonishment, noting that every being has evolved from a seed, a lineage extending back through time. No being, she insists, has ever emerged from nothing. Welcome to Blessovia Science TV, where we take you on an exhilarating journey through the cosmos and unravel the mysteries of science. We are excited to offer you the opportunity to become a valued member of our ever-growing community of cosmic enthusiasts and knowledge seekers. Exclusive access to cosmic content. As a member of Blessovia Science TV, you will gain exclusive access to a treasure trove of cosmic content, including documentaries, interviews with leading scientists, space missions updates, and awe-inspiring visualizations of the universe, live Q, and a sessions with experts. Your membership will grant you the chance to participate in live Q and a sessions with renowned scientists, astronomers, and space explorers. Get your burning questions answered by those who push the boundaries of human knowledge. Embark on a journey that spans the cosmos, and join us in unraveling the secrets of the universe. Become a Blessovia Science TV member today, and together we will reach for the stars. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to leave your comment.